All right, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Wednesday, September the 24th. We had a little bit of a pullback yesterday in the overall markets, the indices, with Jerome Powell speaking. That was at 12:35 p.m. He had some comments, kind of the markets pulling back off of that. We have some names bouncing currently, but just a little bit of a pullback off your all-time highs key level. We're going to talk about some of the levels if we're going to look to buy the dip coming into today. There's some decent things to talk about, at least this morning. So before we head into the charts, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, B Roots, Victor, Monty, Jen, Majid, Eileen, Lucas, Wayne, Nontali. Good morning, Cinna, CJ, Arnold, Fabio, True, Oliver, Norwin, Martin, Robert, Willie, Juan, Daniel, I am, Sagar, Jeff. What's up? Good morning, 50, Darth, Miss Reggie. Yeah. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning. Let's head on to, let me pull up the economic calendar and then we'll head on to some charts. Alrighty. So yeah, coming into today, you can see we don't really have any red folder news. We have some orange folder that is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The next red folder news event that we do have is going to be final GDP numbers, which is tomorrow. And then we also have unemployment. And then on Friday, core PC along with consumer sentiment. So that's for the overall markets. As for yesterday, what we had on the overall indices was a little bit of a drop underneath key levels. So before we get started, some things I do have to mention. If you guys haven't joined the waitlist for the event that is coming up at the end of the month, it is going to be on Sunday. You guys can do so. That is going to be in the description below. And of course, if you guys haven't dropped a like, I appreciate if you guys do so. All right. Let's first talk about the ES and the overall market. So as you can see yesterday, the key levels that we have marked out is our all-time highs. We also had our pre-market lows, which is a very key level yesterday. And then we also had our support level, which was all the way back down in towards our Tuesday's highs. So as you can see here for the overall markets, if I zoom out just a little bit, we ended up getting underneath your pre-market lows. Once we got underneath your pre-market lows, really the market just kind of stayed heavy all day. And then plus with some news later into the session, we ended up having a nice drop. So we ended up dropping basically back down into the area that we broke out from here on Monday. And now you can see we're underneath key levels. So for today, what we like to see is a reaction that we have off of your 6730s. This is going to be our higher time frame key level. What we like to see is a reaction that we have off of essentially your right shoulder here for the overall markets. This is also a very key reclaim level here as well. So if the markets do want to show any sort of strength, it's going to be the reclaim back above your 6730 for a potential move towards the upside. Now, right, if we show a little bit of weakness, we could look to look for a potential kind of pop and fade off this level here as well. So for the overall indices, keep an eye out on this 6730 coming into market open. If you look at the SPY chart, fairly similar thing, right? I'm still fairly bullish here on the higher time frames. We did have a little bit of a bigger pullback yesterday, but overall, right, higher lows are still very much intact and being built on the higher time frames. So if you could reclaim, I'm still fairly interested in a pushback towards the upside. So for the SPY coming into today, the key levels 664.50s. If we can reclaim right off the bat, potential move towards the upside to really the area that we broke down from, which is our 666. Another scenario is if we kind of reject right off the bat, come back down in towards that previous day close level, we could very much well make a higher low off your previous day close, reclaim back above your 664 for this continuation higher. So it's really just going to be based off of your 664 coming into market open. So we'll keep an eye out on SPY coming into today. The only way I'm interested in some downside now is either the kind of rejection right off the bat, where you could be looking for a pop and fade, or now primarily it's going to be right underneath your previous day low. So either going to be looking for the pop and fade right off the bat, or now it's really going to be waiting for price to break underneath its previous day low 662 for continuation towards the downside. So For the SPY coming to today, I'm still bullish here on the higher time frames. I like to see really the reclaim back above that 664 on the ES and the NQ. The reclaim is going to be key. If you go on to the NQ chart, fairly similar thing. The level that I actually have right now currently, it is reclaiming. So as you can see here for the NQ, overall, we're still very much bullish here on the higher time frames. Higher lows are still intact. What we like to see now is really just this continued push back up and towards your all-time highs. I'm going to lean a little bit more bearish if we can finally break underneath. Now, it's essentially going to be your previous day low. So for the NQ coming to market open, key levels that I have marked out is going to be this 24,880. As you can see, higher lows have been built. We're basically just back down in towards your Monday's lows. Now with this reclaim back above your 24,880, I just like to see it maintain above this level for this continued push back up and towards the highs, which will be your 24,980. So this is going to be the key level for the NQ coming into today, which is at 24,880. I'll lean a little bit more towards the downside if we get underneath this level. And then I'll be a lot more interested in shorts underneath. Now it's going to be this 2480. So this is the key level here on the higher time frame. So keep an eye out on your 24,880. And of course, this higher time frame key level, which will be your 24,800 here on the NQ. If you go into the SPY chart, fairly similar thing here. Higher time frame, still very bullish. We ended up just coming back down in towards your Monday's lows yesterday. Key levels that we have marked out now is going to be this 599.70s. So coming to market open for the QQQ, if you can maintain above really this 599, you can see this continue push towards the upside. So far, you can see this is basically last week's key pivot high. If you can maintain above this, we can see a push back towards the upside. I'll lean a little bit more towards the downside if we're underneath this level, and I'll be more bearish if we're underneath now your previous day lows, which is your 597. So these are the key levels for the QQQ. As I mentioned, I'm more interested in the upside, but I'm open to playing both sides here. But what I would like to see is the reaction that we have off your 599. So that's what I have for the major indices, at least today. As for yesterday, right, we had news. So news, whenever we have news in the markets, that's always going to be more important than the technicals in itself. But yeah, those are the levels I have for the major indices, at least today. As for some of the tech names that we can go over now here as well, let's first talk about Tesla. So Tesla key levels that we have marked out. Let's go into the hourly time frame. What we have is your 430. So finally, first sign of a little bit of weakness or momentum slowing down here on Tesla once we broke now underneath its previous low that we've created. So for Tesla, broke underneath your low that we created here on Monday, and we actually closed underneath. If you want to see any sort of upside here on Tesla, now it's going to be the reclaim back above your 430. So still a very key level, right? Higher lows are technically still being built here on the hourly time frame. What we'd like to see now is the reclaim back above 430 for this continued push back towards the upside. So that's going to be key here on Tesla moving forward is your 430 reclaim. You can see how many touches we've had here as well. So the reclaim back above 430 for a continuation higher. If we reject off this level, we could very much well, right, pop and fade off your 430 and come all the way back down in towards your 422 and below. So those are the levels we have for Tesla. As for Apple, this one's still one of my favorite looking charts just because we do have room towards your all-time highs, which is your 259. So coming into today here for Apple, we'll still keep an eye out on this one. Key levels that we have marked out is your 256. So we have your 256 marked out. You can see we have a couple wicks. Tried getting above it yesterday, but you can see these upper wicks are being put in. Now we're still holding key levels. What I like to see is really form kind of this like flat top break. Once we form this flat top, right, break above your 256 once again, we can see a nice continuation back towards the upside. So you can keep an eye out on Apple. I would like to see, right, consolidation, right, couple more touches. Once we break back above that 256.50, this is going to look good for a push back up and towards your previous day highs and your all-time highs 259.20s. So that's what I have for Tesla. Sorry, that's what I have for Apple coming to market open. As for Nvidia, just kind of rejected right off the bat, and then we just came back into the middle of the range and really the area that we broke out from. So Nvidia is still inside this consolidation. I'll be a lot more cautious on this name since now we're rejecting off of all-time highs once again here on the overall markets. So as you can see, right, rejections off the highs, right, bounces off the lows. I'll be interested. The next trade will be the break above your 184 hold for this continued push towards upside. So that's what we have for Nvidia coming into today. As for the lower time frames, what we have marked out is going to be this 178. We also have your 180 here as well. Key level for Nvidia, break above your 180, hold above your 180 for a potential pushback up towards your 182. The more likely scenario, kind of rejection off of your 180, and it's going to come right back down in towards that 178 here on the higher time frame. So that's what I have for Nvidia coming into market open. Keep an eye out on your 180 reaction. Also, another scenario is if you can break underneath your previous day lows, your 178, we could be looking for a continuation. Now it's going to be back into the area that we broke out from, which is this 176 here on the higher time frame. So we'll keep an eye out on Nvidia. As for my main watch coming into today, we'll keep an eye out on AMD. I do like this one, kind of flat top forming here as well. A lot of touches here around this 163. As you can see, multiple touches. This is one of my favorite looking charts currently, if you can break above your 162 and hold. So for AMD, very key level of resistance. We've had multiple rejections off this 162. If you can now break above your 162.50, hold above this. This one looks good for a continuation higher. So we'll keep an eye out on AMD coming into today. As I mentioned, it's going to be the break above your 162.50 and a hold above it. There's really only one scenario: break above, right, retest for a continuation towards upside, or now maybe the break above your previous day highs, hold above that level for this continued push towards upside here as well. So two scenarios on AMD coming to market open. Either way, we'll keep an eye out on this one for continuation. Now back up and towards your 165 and above. Let's go on to a few other tickers here as well. It does seem like we have some bot comments. I love how there's always these bot comments as well. Let's see. Let's go on to a few other tickers, and then we will go on to some of the other ones. Okay, so for Meta coming into today, key levels that we have marked out. Really not too much to talk about on this ticker. Key levels is your 768. This is kind of the level we're rejecting from yesterday. Meta showing a little bit of weakness. Amazon, similar thing here as well. So not too much to talk about. It's kind of just coming back down in towards key levels of support, which is our 745. And then we also have the level that we're gonna have to reclaim if you want to see any sort of push higher. So key level is going to be this 176. Hold above your 176 for a potential move higher. Now we're underneath that level. Just keep an eye out on your previous day highs, also your previous day lows as well. And then for Google, consolidation, so not too much to talk about on this one. And then for Amazon, we had some news yesterday, kind of dropping right back down in towards key levels, which is your 221. So 221 here on the higher time frames. If you look at this on the daily chart, we're showing a little bit more weakness now, right? Higher lows are still being built, and you like to see buyers step in off this 220. But Amazon, right, very key level here on the higher time frames. Would you like to see bounce? You can see some buyers trying to step in, right? We'd like to see really maintain above 220 for any sort of continued pushback towards the upside. So key levels that we have marked out, right, 225, and we also have your 220. So I'd like to see higher lows be built off this level for a potential continuation back towards the upside. So what we have here on Netflix, not too much to talk about on this name. And then, of course, for Microsoft, this one is consolidating here as well. So for the overall markets, really coming into today, we're just going to keep an eye out on the SPY and keys themselves. We don't have any red folder news, and we're about to open up in the middle of really yesterday's range and plus Monday's range here as well. So you can just kind of draw this out. We're kind of opening up in the middle of the range. I'll be a little bit more cautious coming to market open. We'll see kind of the reaction within the first kind of 15 to 30 minutes, just because now we're opening up in between its previous day's range. So I'm just going to see what happens within the first 15 to 30 minutes here on both the SPY In the Qs, my main watch, as I mentioned, is going to be AMD. So AMD, if we can get above your 162.50, we can see a potential continuation higher. And then for the rest of the tickers, we're slowing down just a little bit. So we'll check up on some of these other names here as well, for the names that are holding up. So whatever names that are holding up with that market pullback yesterday is the main names that we're going to focus in on. Okay. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you guys like me to go over, I'll go over them now so you guys can drop them in the chat. Yeah, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you like me to go over, you guys can drop them in the chat now, and I'll do that. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that one's in the description. Of course, if you guys haven't joined the wait list for the event coming up at the end of the month, you guys can join that one as well. Let me actually delete some of these bot comments and then let me scroll down here. All right, let me read some comments here as well. As for Palantir, let's go over Palantir first. So Palantir, this one, key levels that we have marked out is your 184, and we also have 185, and then your all-time high. So Palantir, I like Palantir for a push towards all-time highs. Yesterday, we tried breaking above key levels, but ultimately with the overall markets, you can see pretty big upper wicks here and kind of just push back towards the downside. This one, in my opinion, still fairly bullish. You can see now higher lows are being built. Right back here, very nice break and retest off a key level, break and retest above your 172. Now you can see on the hourly chart, we're using now your 178 for continuation higher. This is very healthy for Palantir. Plus it had some news yesterday as well. Key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 184. So 184 is your key level. If you can now get back above your 184, maintain above your 184, we can see this continue push back up towards your 185 and above here. So keep an eye on Palantir coming to today. This one also bouncing with the overall markets just having a very miniature bounce, right? Palantir is already back at your previous day highs. This one did have some news yesterday. So Palantir is something to keep an eye out on for a potential push back up and towards your all-time highs if you can now get above your 184. So that's going to be the key level for this ticker. As for SoFi, key levels that we have marked out is your 2960s. So we have multiple touches here. Finally breaking underneath your 2960s. We'd really like to see the reclaim back above this level for continuation back towards the upside. Or now it's going to be the retest of your previous all-time high. So either scenario, like either comes all the way back down in towards that 2840s, or now it's going to be the reclaim back above your 2960s for continuation higher. As for gold, expecting continuation sell-off today. We'll talk about that overall indices, but the key level is going to be your previous day lows, at least for the major indices. The higher time frame is still fairly bullish, so until we can break underneath your previous day lows, I'm going to be more neutral, leaning more towards the upside. As for gold, this one just continue to push higher here. Daily chart bullish, right? Hourly chart bullish here as well. So these dips are just getting bought up. Next key levels is going to be back up and towards your all-time high. So we just mark out this down close candle here. Key levels, as you can see, is your 37.55. Now what we like to see is really gold push back up and towards your all-time highs, which is your 37.90. So you can see higher lows are being built here on gold. As I mentioned, break above key levels and then push back up and towards your all-time high. So that's what we have for gold coming into today. Let's go on to a few other times. Sorry, what time's that? It should be around 12 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. We'll have some more information. More information should be coming out tonight. You guys will get updated if you're signed up. Okay, so for Oracle, this one, key levels that we have marked out is our 2250s. Ended up rejecting off this level yesterday, just now coming right back down in towards key levels, which is our 308. As for Yeah, 308. We like to see kind of higher lows be built. I'm not as interested just because overall market dropping yesterday. This one's pulling back now. It's just going to consolidate a little bit more, right? Higher time frames. It's going to kind of form this higher time frame pattern. I like to see kind of buyers defend this 304. And then eventually, once we break back above key levels, we're going to have this nice continue push higher. So for Oracle, just be a little bit more patient on this one. As for Hood, key levels that we have marked out is our 124 along with our 126. What we now like to see on Hood, really maintain above your 126 for this continued push back up and towards your all-time highs and above, or now it's going to be the break above your previous day highs for this continuation higher. So that's what we have for Hood coming into today. Let's see. As for a few other tickers here as well, let's go over AVGO. So for AVGO, you can see every pop just kind of being shorted. It is coming back down in towards key levels of support now, which is going to be your 332. So that's where I like to see the buyers step in. So far, after breaking underneath your 356, we haven't really done too much. So for AVGO, either the bounce and kind of buyers stepping in off this 332, or now it's going to be the reclaim back above your 342 for continuation higher. Palantir, went over that one. Let's see, VGO, INTC. Curious, Jack, when you choose options, if you're looking at Delta and what percentage are you looking for? So Delta is something that you're going to take a look at, especially it doesn't matter as much if you're day trading, right? Of course, if you're swing trading, if you want to calculate risk, that's something to keep an eye out on. But majority of the weekly contracts, the delta is going to be a little bit lower. If you choose further in the money, right, the delta is going to be higher. And then, of course, if you're super far in the money, the delta is going to be close to one, and it basically moves similar to how the stock moves. As for INTC, some buyers kind of stepping in off this 2850. Key level is going to be your 30 or previous day highs, multiple touches. If you can reclaim back above your 30 key psych, Intel looks good for a push back towards the upside. But you don't want to see kind of this pop and fade and push back inside the middle of the range here. So that's what we have for Intel coming into today. As for a few other tickers here as well, let me scroll down. TM, this one just recently hit your all-time highs, and now you can see kind of rejection off your all-time highs. And now what we like to see for this ticker after kind of rejecting off your all-time highs key pivot point is your first level of support, which in this case it is your 84. So 84 higher time frame key level. We like to see kind of buyers step in off 84. If it breaks underneath, right, you're just going to see this push back towards the downside. If you can maintain this, it's going to be a little bit trickier, but you can see kind of base and potentially start moving back towards your all-time highs in this case. So that's what we have for TEM. As for a few other tickers here as well, key levels that we have is key levels for OKLO is your previous all-time highs 136. You can see buyers stepping in off your 136. We'd now like to see it just maintain above this for continuation right back towards the upside. So levels, previous day highs. We also have your 136. Either scenario looks good here for OKLO. I would be a little bit more cautious on this one though, just because we are fairly overextended, but these are the key levels that we have marked out. And then let's see. Yeah, let me scroll down here. IWM is the 3-day event going to be recorded for those who can't join. I think it should be recorded. Don't hold me to that though. It very much well. We're still deciding if it's going to be recorded or not. As for IWM, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be your 244.50s. We also have your all-time highs, which is your 246. So key levels in this case is, as you can see, 244.50s. We have multiple touches here, and then we have your all-time highs. If you want to see any sort of push higher, you can see yesterday IWM had a nice push with the overall indices dropping. So IWM reclaim level is going to be your 244, also your 246 here as well for this continuation higher. So these are the levels that we have marked out for IWM. This one's still fairly bullish here as well, right? All dips are being bought up. what we like to see is just continuation towards our all-time highs and above. So that's what we have for IWM. As for a few other tickers here as well, let's see, Coinbase kind of dropping here, not too much to talk about. Key level is your 328. I'd like to see this level hold. So far breaking underneath it, so a little bit less bullish now, just kind of consolidating, coming right back into the middle of the range that we have, which is in between your 345 along with this 290. So that's what we have for coin coming into today. Let's see. Okay, hello, went over that one. What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing? BA. Going to be interested in what it does today, like how that flat top looks on AMD. Yeah, AMD looks fairly solid. As for Boeing, this one kind of pushed towards the downside. Not really too much to talk about on the weekly time frame. Slowly kind of shaping back towards the highs here as well. Key levels that we have marked out is your 218. So 218. You can have marked out. That's going to be key here. If you want to see any sort of reclaim back on the daily chart, it's going to be the reclaim back above this for a continuation higher. All right, I'll go over a few more tickers here, and then I am most likely going to get ready for market open. As for UNH, so this one's kind of shaping back nicely here, reclaiming back above your 350, which is also the area that we broke down from. So for UNH, this one looks fairly solid on the hourly chart. As you can see here, higher lows are being built based off of this week's price action. You can see Monday or Tuesday, nice push higher here as well. So for UNH, really the key levels that I have marked out is your previous day highs, 352. We also have your 350 here as well. What I like to see break above previous day highs continuation, or now it's going to be the hold above your 350 for this continued push back towards the upside here as well. So either scenario on UNH looks good for a move back towards your 350s, and next levels that I have is all the way back up and towards your 360 here on the higher time frames. And then let me go over open. So open kind of dropping here, but it's holding our key levels. I do like this one. So for open, you can see a nice kind of push towards upside. Ended up dropping yesterday, but buyers, I'd like to see it defend really this key level right here, which is your 7 higher time frame key level support. Also down close candle here as well. I personally like to see this level hold if you want to see any sort of continue push back towards the upside. So for open, where either the bounce off your 720 or now it's going to be the break back above your previous day highs for any sort of push back up and towards 860 and above. Okay, yeah, let me go over my game plan coming into today, and then I am going to get ready for market open. Really, I don't see too much today. We're just going to base it off of intraday price action. But once more here on the overall markets, we're in between Mondays and Tuesdays range here for the SPY and the Qs. We'll keep an eye out on your 599 coming to market open. If you maintain above your 599 base, we can see this slow kind of push back towards the upside, break underneath. Then I'm less bullish, but I'm still bullish because we're above your previous day lows. If we break underneath your 597, your 597, yes, then I'm going to be leaning a little bit more towards the downside. So I'm still fairly bullish here on the overall markets. Today, I'm coming to the market with a neutral bias. If we break underneath your previous day lows, then I'm going to be more bearish. If we maintain above your 599s, then I'm going to neutral, leaning a little bit more towards the upside just based off of the higher time frame. SPY, exact same thesis here. Key level is your 664.50s. If we can get back above your 664.50s, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the upside. I'm going to be a little bit more bearish if we reject off your 664.50s, or now if we get underneath your previous day lows, then I'm going to be a lot more bearish intraday because we're underneath key levels and we're showing a little bit more weaker price action. So in the middle of the range today, be a little bit more patient coming into market open. We don't have any red folder news, so that's something to keep in mind as well. My top watch coming into today is going to be AMD, so keep an eye out on this one. 162.50s break above. Now it's going to be your previous day highs hold for this continuation higher, so keep an eye out on AMD. As for a few other tickers to keep an eye out on, it's going to be Apple. Right, once we do build this kind of flat top, I like this for the reclaim back above your 256.40s for a push back towards your all-time highs and above. And then for Tesla, a little bit more neutral in this one. But key level coming into today is your 430. You like to see kind of that 430 reclaim for any sort of pushback towards the upside. Nvidia, yeah, fairly neutral on this ticker after having this nice pop higher, basically inside the middle of the range. And then the rest of the tickers, a lot more neutral on. There's really not much else to see here on the overall indices. As for Palantir, this one looks good. We do have room towards your all-time highs if we can break above your 184. So keep that in mind here on Palantir. Key levels that we have marked out is your 185.20s, and then we also have marked out your 189s. And then for the rest of the tickers, keep an eye out on Hood above your 127. TSM slowly grinding higher here. Let's do a quick scan of the rest of the names. Yeah, so those are primarily the names that we're looking at coming to market open. We're going to focus in on AMD if it can break, and then potentially Apple for another flat top break here as well. So those are the major indices. Sorry, those are the names that I'm keeping an eye out on coming into today. Be a little bit more cautious just because we are opening up in the middle of the range, so expect some consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised if we consolidate a little bit more within the first kind of 15 to 30 minutes, and then we'll see if the market does want to pick a clear direction after that. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter pre-market prep today, but if you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop me a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. And if you guys haven't joined the wait list for the event coming at the end of the month, you guys can also join the wait list for that as well. We should have some emails sent out tonight, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that is going to be it for me today, and I am going to get ready for market open here, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.